Since time immemorial, you and your people have toiled in the shadow of the Cyclopean ruins of mysterious origin and the source of many a superstition. They have always been considered a secret best left unknown by the folk of your hamlet. But now something stirs beneath the crumbling blocks. Beastmen howl in the night, and your fellow villagers are snatched from their beds. With no heroes to defend you, who will rise to stand against the encircling darkness? The secrets of chaos are yours to unearth, but at what cost to sanity or soul? I review Dungeon Crawl Classic Zero-Level Character Funnel, Sailors of the Starless Sea, coming right up on RPG Retro Reviews. Hello everyone, I'm Captain Courageous, and I review old school modules and games and try to give them a fun and informative analysis. If this is your first time visiting my channel, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back, and thank you for your support. This week I'm revisiting the Dungeon Crawl Classics RPG with the adventure module Sailors of the Starless Sea. I did a comprehensive review of the Dungeon Crawl Classics RPG system back in January of 2020, so I'm not going to go into too much detail here. In brief, DCC is by the venerable Goodman Games, the same folks who have brought you the very excellent Original Adventures Reincarnated series, and a massive amount of 3rd edition modules done in the old school style back in the early 2000s. When Wizards of the Coast decided to publish 4th edition, Goodman Games punted and came out with their very own retro old-school role-playing game in 2012, Dungeon Crawl Classics. This is not a restatement of classic rules, but a variation of the 3rd edition D20 system, but it's been stripped down to its bare bones, overhauled, rethought, and spiced up with heavy doses of pulp fantasy, H.P. Lovecraft, gonzo, and frequently gory play mechanics. The rulebook and the many modules they published are stuffed with fantastic artwork. Even the maps themselves are stylized and over the top. In short, the game is awesome. Furthermore, DCC has one of the most unique and interesting character creation systems I think I've ever seen. I have to say, I was a bit critical when reading it off the page, but having played through it, my conclusion is that it is 100% worth the effort. The idea behind the character creation system is to eschew traditional mechanics that allow for min-maxing and certain levels of munchkinism in favor of a randomized set of tables and something they call the character funnel. Players roll 3d6 straight down the line for their 6 attributes: strength, agility, stamina, endurance, personality, intelligence, and luck. And they repeat this up to 4 times, creating 4 zero-level characters. Right, 0 level. These 0 levels are, as expected, very fragile. They have 1, 2, 4 hit points, and yes, you roll for that too. And then they roll on the occupation table to find out what this 0-level peon was doing before they decided to become an adventurer. The occupation table shown here determines several things, not just occupation, but also if you're a race other than human. Like classic D&D of old, races are classes in Dungeon Crawl Classics. Your randomly determined occupation nets you a weapon you are trained in using, and some minor trade goods. Oh yeah, you also start with 3d6 times 10 copper pieces. And that's it. Those are your characters. Now you put them through an adventure, and whomever survives becomes your first level character. The adventure I'm going to review today is one such adventure called Sailors of the Starless Sea. Before we begin, I would like you to check out my Teespring store, where you can get some fun gaming swag, from t-shirts and hoodies to coffee mugs and stickers. Original artwork by old school artists James V. West and Phil Stone invite you to game on. A link is in the description. Just a quick spoiler warning, I will be giving away some major details of this adventure's secrets, so you may want to get your judge to watch this video in hopes they might run it for your group. I'll also be taking a look not just at the printed version of the module, but also the PDF, the Fantasy Grounds release, and some virtual tabletop add-ons you can buy at the Goodman Games website. With all that said, there's a lot to cover with this one, so let's get things started, shall we? This adventure was written by the venerable Harley Stroh and released back in 2012. The version I'm reviewing today is the 7th printing and adds an additional encounter area called the Summoning Pits, but more on that section later. Harley Stroh is without a doubt one of the best and most prolific modern-day RPG module authors out there. Some of my favorite adventures for 3rd edition were written by Mr. Stroh: The Thief Lord's Vault, Legacy of the Savage Kings, Into the Wilds, and of course the sinister Secret of White Rock, just to scratch the surface. And of course he's written quite a few adventure modules for the DCC game since its release. Let me start off by saying that writing a low-level starting adventure is probably one of the hardest kinds of modules to write effectively. But Mr. Stroh does so here skillfully, with Sailors of the Starless Sea making it look effortless. This is the kind of adventure I might expect to be the last boss battle or major campaign event for a long-running campaign, but here it's done for a bunch of zero-level peons. The module recommends between 10 to 15 zero-level characters or a smaller party of 1st and 2nd level characters. The challenges faced herein are very deadly, and without a doubt, fewer characters will come out of this intact than went in. But again and again, player skill is more important here than character skill. The player characters are all members of an unnamed village that lives in the shadow of a long-abandoned, ruined keep. The dark edifice looming threateningly over the PC's home, offering a taint of evil over the otherwise good and peaceful hamlet. The keep is the ruin of the stronghold of former Chaos Lords Molin and Felon. The Vile brothers were defeated in ages past and forgotten. Molin, in his passing, made a pact with the Chaos God that when the armies of good fell into disarray once more, he could return to lay waste to his foes. That time has come. The ruined keep stirs once more, and agents of chaos kidnap innocent villages, corrupting them into the foul beast creatures. Realizing their peril and angry at the loss of their friends and relatives, and with no stalwart and experienced heroes stepping up to defend the village, the villagers themselves take up the mantle of hero, gather their pitchforks, and storm the castle to seek retribution for the misdeeds of the Chaos Lords within. The module provides a table of random rumors, and the judge is instructed to provide one of them for each player rather than each of their characters. In this case, I'd just provide a rumor for each player and let them decide which of their character knows it. From there, the module begins with the characters arriving at the ruined keep. With its crumbling walls, there are actually several avenues of approach and entry into the place. Thus, how all this plays out will depend on the player's choices here. However, each one is dangerous, and surely a few characters will fall regardless of their choices. To the northeast is a massive sinkhole. Bizarre mists cloud the place, the ghostly visages of faces occasionally appearing within and then dissipating upwards. Unbeknownst to them, 500 feet below lies the object of their quest, but the edge here is precarious, and it's more likely that crumbling ground will plummet the PCs to their deaths rather than provide a legitimate means of egress to the caves below. To the northwest, a crumbling rampart can provide a reasonable means of approach as long as the players are cautious and inspect their area beforehand. The DC here to avoid trouble is a mere 10, or an 8 if you're a dwarf. The southern approach to the place's gatehouse, the main entrance, provides the most dangerous way. The first is along the keep's causeway. The corpses of 2 of the villagers, Carrie and Albin, sons of the village smith, have been infected with the seeds of a vile plant that animates the corpses, turning them into zombie-like vine horrors. Certainly a creepy encounter. A bit further are planks, remnant of the keep's drawbridge, provide entrance to the courtyard. This part is very reminiscent of the moat house from Village of Hamlet. Here, the PCs must overcome 2 beastmen who lurk above in the gatehouse, ready to drop the thing's portcullis on unwary passersby and attack. Let me just say I love the design of the beastmen. While the stats of the various mutations are all the same, the look of each creature's mutation is vastly different. A random beastman table is provided, allowing for creatures that resemble humanoid felines or bears, rats, apes, birds, and other disgusting things, such as a body that weeps maggots, larvae, and flies from its gaping mouth, eyes, and ears. Even better, the module provides color depictions of the various types the PCs can face. This is amazingly well done. Once in the courtyard proper, several choices of exploration are open to the players. Area F is a very dangerous well whose vertigo-inducing properties might cause unlucky PCs to topple over its edge and plummet to their death. Area D1, if searched appropriately, might provide the PCs with a nice sword and several doses of a magical healing poultice. Area B1 leads to an underground area. The place is warded by a mystical stone door. While not locked, if forced open, it will blast those in the area with a gout of flame for 1d10 points of damage, a reflex save for half. Very deadly for such fragile characters. However, beyond is the frozen tomb of the fallen Chaos Lord Felon. His armor and weapon will be very useful in the upcoming battle, but comes with a curse of its own. Furthermore, everything is frozen solid and will require tenacity and strength to liberate the special items, especially Felon's axe, which grotesquely snaps the corpse's fingers as it's wrenched from the dead warrior's grip. Area E is a burned-out temple of chaos. In ages past, the castle's invaders trapped the evil priests within and set the edifice ablaze, burning those within alive. Several items can be acquired here, the most important being the censer, an incense burner used in chaos ceremonies, which can be used to placate agents of chaos, but more on that later. Finally, there is Area H. This is the most dangerous. The tower is multi-level, and lurking above, as in Area C, are beastmen, and there are 6 beastmen here as well as a beastman champion. This will be a dangerous and bloody battle, and several PCs will fall. Within the tower are several villagers hanging from above by chains. Once the beastmen are defeated, they can be freed, and if a player has lost all their characters to the traps and combats encountered thus far, can provide new replacement characters to play. This area also provides egress to the bonus section of the module, the summoning pits. But that section is entirely optional, so I'll discuss it towards the end of this review. To the north in the tower are a set of double doors, beyond which rough-hewn stone stairs lead down into darkness. From this point, the module follows a mostly linear track to its conclusion, but there are several horrific challenges that must be faced before the final Lord of Chaos can be overcome. Area 1-2, the Dread Halls, is very interesting. There are 2 means of egress to the next section after continuing on down the stairs, or by exploring the fetid black pool, and it's quite likely that exploring the thing will occur, as failing a willpower save will induce a compulsion to inspect the base of the pool. Bobbing on the surface of the brackish black waters are skulls with glowing eye sockets. These are the remnants of those that challenged the Chaos Lords in ages past. They have a burning hatred for Milan and Felon, and in addition to providing much needed light, can prove useful in the final confrontation to come. There are several alcoves in which robes of the Chaos Acolytes can be discovered, and most interestingly, the east and west wall of the place are decorated with elaborate tile mosaics, and inspecting these can provide further insight into what's to come. Wonderfully, the module provides these excellent handouts that can be photocopied or printed out from the PDF and given to the players to represent the mosaics. At the bottom of the pool, a ring can be found, and if turned, dumps the skulls and any players within the pool area to 1-3, and here the slurry bones of the Chaos Lord's enemies can be found. Pretty disgusting, but interestingly, a magical ring can be discovered amongst the decaying bones and refuse that will allow the wearer to cast magical spells. It's a great magic item with uses that exceed far past the current quest, to be sure. Regardless, either falling through the pool or by taking the stairs, the PCs end up in Area 1-4. Here they finally discover the Starless Sea of the module's title. A vast underground lake leads to a small island on which resides a massive ziggurat. On the shoreline is a menhir, and at the top, the remnants of a candle can be found. Offshore, about 50 feet, is a large Viking-like dragon ship, which can provide a means to cross the massive sea. Burning the candle at the top of the menhir summons the ship to the shore and allows the PCs to board. Once everyone is aboard the ship, it will begin, of its own volition, moving towards the island with the ziggurat. In addition, lighting the sensor will draw the ship to the shoreline, or, barring that, the PCs can just swim out to the ship. But that is terribly dangerous, for within the depths of the Starless Sea awaits a Chaos Leviathan. This multi-tentacled beast will attack anyone trying to cross the underground lake. Thus, before they can make it to the island, the PCs will have to deal with the Leviathan. Once again, burning the sensor will pacify the thing and allow them to pass. That's probably the best route. When we played this module, we didn't think of the sensor. The judge simply had the thing become sated after it consumed 4 of our number. Battling the thing directly is not a good idea. It will sink into the waters and leaves the PCs alone only after they deal it a total of 66 points of damage. It attacks 6 times a round at +6, doing 1d8 plus 2 points of damage with its tentacles. Further, if that doesn't kill the PC outright, it will grapple the character and crush them the following round, pulling them underwater to drown. Those that dare enter the waters to attack the beast directly will discover an enormous beast, the body of which is covered with thousands of horrified eyes and slack jaws, the faces of the creature's previous victims. The module encourages the judge to entertain any other clever solutions to the thing the players might propose, and to punish the foolish ones. Finally, however, after surviving all that has come before, those that remain are left to confront the vile ceremony going on at the island. The ziggurat is crowded at its base area with no less than 22 beastmen, all howling and prostrating themselves in a religious fervor due to the ceremony going on. When we played this out, we donned the robes we found in the pool room, and with some luck rolls, managed to bypass them entirely to make it to the top of the pyramid. Here, many of the remaining villagers can be found, along with 3 beastmen acolytes and a shaman, surrounding a deep pit from which emerges a hellish light. Screaming villagers are tossed to their deaths into the lava pit, while beastmen overturn baskets of gold coins into the pit as well. The effigy of a fearsome armored figure is hoisted above the pit, while beating drums and beastmen howls fill the area as the wicked ritual reaches its climax. Now a pitched battle will surely ensue. At some point the effigy will be tossed into the lava pit. This plunges the entire area into darkness, but for the magna-filled pit, those peering within see the effigy gathering the flesh and bones of sacrificial victims and gold coins about itself magically. The following round, the thing emerges from the pit and quickly cools into hardened stone. The round after that, the thing bursts forth from its stone cocoon, a fully formed, hellish horned human beastman of chaos. Wonderfully, the module provides a full-page color depiction of this monster on a fold-out flap, which can be folded back to show the players the horrific thing they face. I mean, look at it. Battling the Chaos Lord will not be easy, but several things can work in the PZ's favor here. The creature is in a weakened state and only has 20 hit points. Hurling the glowing skulls at the Chaos Lord will result in 1d6 plus 1 damage to the thing as they explode upon impact and burst into flame. Once the Chaos Lord is defeated, the entire cavern begins to shake and crumble. Rocks fall from above and magma bursts forth from the pit. And the PZs only have a few rounds to gather what treasure and items they can, make it back to the dragon ship, and once aboard, a massive wave will sweep them through and into yet another cavern beyond, and either into the light of day or even deeper into the underground realms at the whim of the judge. The end. Regardless, those that have survived probably have quite a bit of gold coins, some cool magic items, and are in possession of a magical ship that can take them anywhere they want to go. On to the next adventure. Wow, what an ending. A quick note about the bonus sublevel, the Summoning Pits. This essentially explains and goes into more detail on the Vine horror creatures encountered earlier, but is entirely optional. I personally would not introduce this option if I was running this for a group of 0 level characters, but I think it would make a fun addition if the judge is running this for 1st and 2nd level characters. The map for this level is an isometric one, and like the rest of DCC's dungeon maps, is highly stylized. Has anyone played through this level? Let me know how it went in the comments. Let me also add that you could totally run this module for any OSR style game or even 5th edition D&D if you wanted to, with little or few modifications. Getting a copy of this outstanding module is relatively easy. I got the softcover version off of Amazon for only $9.99. The PDF is available from DriveThruRPG for only $4, but note that if you buy the Dead Tree version, there is a code you can use to get a free copy of the PDF from DriveThruRPG. The phenomenal cover art here is by Doug Kovacs. The cover actually trifolds out to reveal a really engaging panoramic artscape of the module's highlights. The interior artists are Jim Holloway, Doug Kovacs, Will McCausland, Brad McDivitt, Jesse Moen, Russ Nicholson, and Stephen Poeg. All of it top-notch and engaging. The cartography is by Doug Kovacs and Will McCausland. Fantasy Grounds has this module available for $9.99, so you can run it virtually if you like, but I dare say I was a bit disappointed here in that the maps have not been updated to take advantage of the application's dynamic lighting and line of sight options. That said, you can also purchase some cool color maps and tokens for use for any virtual tabletop directly from Goodman Games website for just $5. And as you can see here, greatly adds to the atmosphere of your presentation, especially if you take the time to add in the dynamic lighting options. So let's go ahead and take a look at Sailors of the Starless Sea on my D20 scale of style, presentation, and value. Style-wise, this is really a module that set the standard of what was to come. Full color interior cover art that pops. The trifold cover is glossy and evocative. The interior art is absolutely stunning and is sure to inspire the judges' descriptions. As is typical for DCC modules, the maps are all stylized and fun to look at as well as functional. It's obvious that a lot of love and passion went into the production of this module, and overall, on its own, it's really a work of art. I'm going to rate this a natural 20 critical hit. The presentation here is also on point. Every section is described well, but I think it's sometimes a bit over wordy with walls of text broken up with occasionally very useful bullet points. That said, I'm not going to knock off points here because it's clear why this is a much beloved module. It's just awesome. The challenges here are tough, but clever and resourceful players can overcome them. But nothing comes easy. If you have a character that survives this meat grinder, you can consider it a genuine accomplishment. This adventure tugs at the very core of fantasy role-playing games, toying with the best of its tropes to provide an engaging, heart-pounding scenario full of tension and atmosphere that culminates in a rousing, blood-pumping finale. While some might lament the linear nature of the second half of the adventure, I'd counter that it really doesn't matter. These are zero-level characters after all. There's only so many places you can take them, and regardless the challenges faced, the pool room, the eponymous Starless Sea with its deadly chaos Leviathan, is an instant classic. And then its finale, an encounter atop a many-tiered ziggurat with a demonic axe-wielding Lord of Chaos? This module provides the judge with all the tools to provide their players with an evening of the best that fantasy RPGs have to offer. Certainly the fall of the Lord of Chaos will invoke cheers and high fives all about the table. And still the module isn't done. As the cave complex begins to collapse, there's a final run to the dragon ship, and a massive wave catapulting the PCs to their next adventure provides the module's exciting conclusion. Those that survive this adventure will not only come away with some cool magic items, but also a neat dragon ship that will allow them to go wherever they want. Adventure awaits. If you are trying to get people excited to play your game, this is how you do it. Without the sub-level add-on, this could be wrapped up in a single session's play. That makes it a great introduction to the game. Run as a one-shot to run at conventions, this module is Dungeon Crawl Classics version of the killer app. I'm going to rate this a natural 20 critical hit. Finally, let's talk value. There's some great artwork and creatures to use in later adventures, such as the Beastmen and the Vine Horrors, but there's no detailed village or town to use later on in the campaign. One might initially think that there's not much here after a judge has run the thing, but certainly this is the kind of thing that a referee will run for new groups over and over again, year after year, as an introduction to the DCC game, at conventions and so on. This is only $9.99, and its production values, like all of Goodman Games products, is top-notch. But to me, it's the upper tier of the best. Further, you can get the PDF for free with a provided code, adding further to its usefulness. I have no choice but to rate this too a natural 20 critical hit. And that brings the overall rating for Sailors of the Starless Sea to a natural 20 critical hit. My very first natural 20 rating overall for a module. Well, that about wraps up another RPG Retro Review. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. I'd like to thank all of my patrons who support the channel month after month. Thank you for your continued support. Without you, these videos would not be possible. Please give this video a like, comment, and share. Please check out my Teespring store for great gaming swag, t-shirts, carry bags, coffee cups, and more. Join the channel's Facebook page, RPG Retro Reviews, and consider supporting the channel by becoming a patron yourself, or alternatively, you can just send a tip through the PayPal tip jar. A link is in the description. And as always, my friends, may your D20 roll true, and game on.